What better way to start a game? Less than a minute into it with the lob to the brow. In season 2, the defense is never safe. I feel like discussing the real NBA today. The Indiana Pacers made a trade for Scola. And when I first heard that they made the trade for him, I thought maybe they were gonna trade Granger, maybe David West, somebody, but they didn't trade anybody. They're keeping Danny Granger, they're keeping David West. Their core is intact. They still have Paul George and Roy Hibbert. They still have all those guys, but now they're adding somebody like Scola, who is a starter in the NBA. Most likely adding him to come in off the bench. That is going to be deadly, especially if they have to match up again with the Miami Heat, or even with some of the other teams in the East, because now instead of subbing in Tyler Hansborough, you're subbing in somebody that's just like him. Oh, but I miss. I dropped that noob to the floor, but I missed the three. But I ain't even mad because I get a rebound, my first of the game. This trade for the Pacers, it reminds me of the trade that the Brooklyn Nets made when they got Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Jason Terry. When I first heard that they were moving over to the Nets, I thought maybe they were getting rid of Lopez, maybe Joe Johnson, somebody. But then when I found out that they're still keeping Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Brook Lopez, I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. That is some cheese. So now all of a sudden the East is back. I don't think they have as many really good competitive teams as the West does, but championship contending teams, I think the East is stronger than the West right now. And before I get into that, we got to highlight this hustle play by Eric Gordon. He blocks it off the backboard. He blocked it before it hit the backboard, so I got to celebrate with a lob. I had to toss a lob in that situation. I was too hyped after I saw him jump and block that. I said, we're lobbing. The East is looking real good right now. You got to remember the Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose came out and said that he was the best player in the NBA. To me, what that means when he said that, that means that he's ready to come back now. He's finally got the confidence in his game, in his knee, his legs, everything. He's going to be coming back. And I think he might even come back just as good as he was before the injury. That would be amazing. That's what everybody wants to see. So if that is the case, then it was worth it for him to sit out all this time. But now all of a sudden, the Chicago Bulls are back into the picture. Because even without Rose, they were a great team. So when you add him into the mix, now all of a sudden that takes them to the championship contender level. It doesn't mean they're going to win a championship, but they can compete with the best of teams. Even in the series where the Miami Heat beat them in 5 games, all those games were close. So even though Miami won in 5, it seems like they just manhandled them, but really every single game came down to the wire. So when you think about it, anything could happen. Obviously, the Brooklyn Nets are the most interesting team this season because they basically have to win it. They only have 1 or 2 seasons to win the championship. They have to do it now because those guys are getting old. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. Even though last season Kevin Garnett played really well, you could see it wearing on Paul Pierce. Pierce did not have his best season. He had a lot of moments where he just seemed, he just didn't seem himself. He got crossed over a lot, dropped to the floor last season, embarrassing plays. But Kevin Garnett is still looking sharp. But now it's a year later, so is Kevin Garnett going to be able to play like that throughout this season? Will Paul Pierce wake up? I don't know, but they're obviously going to be the team to watch to see if it actually works. And if you've been paying attention to the gameplay, at the 6-minute mark in the 4th quarter, I only had 6 rebounds. It wasn't looking good for that triple-double, but now I grabbed my 9th rebound. In the last minute or so, all of a sudden I have 3 rebounds in a minute. This is unbelievable. I'm 1 rebound away from yet another triple-double, getting closer and closer to that Hall of Fame progress, success. I'm trying to get every rebound I can. I'm trying. I just need 1 more. Ellis is going to pop the 3, but he makes it splash. So I decide that now is the time to pull a smooth move. What maneuver could possibly be smoother than to do a floater, miss it on purpose, and get the rebound? That's my 10th rebound. There goes the triple-double. That's what I had hiding up my sleeve. That was in my bag of tricks. Yet another triple-double. This one was nice. 50 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists. The very next game against the Phoenix Suns, I'm trying to do it again. I've got no rebounds in the first quarter. I really wanted that rebound right there. And I really like this dunk because it looks like I'm about to break my knee. I'm about to just look. It looks like I'm about to end my career when I land. I'm like, ooh. But back to the NBA discussion. Isn't it funny that a few years ago we were looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder and we were saying, this is a championship team. They made it to the finals against the Miami Heat. They lost in the finals, but we said, Oklahoma City, they're going to be back. And then last season, they don't sign James Harden. They let him walk. They trade him for Kevin Martin. And then this season, they don't even keep Kevin Martin. They get rid of him. So how do the Thunder improve? And I did it again. The Michael Jordan free throw dunk. I did it again. Turning on the Jets. I really am turning on the Jets, taking flight. So where do the Thunder go from here? Because it seems like they're not willing to pay to win. They don't want to pay that luxury tax. And I'm not doing good with the rebounds here in the first quarter, so I'm going to pull another smooth move. I'm going to do the floater to get the rebound. And look at the brow. The brow stealing my rebound. I only had one rebound in the first quarter, so I was trying to get that second one. But you know what? We got time left. Why not let it fly? Shot clock cheese reverse alley-oop to Henry. But now I've got to get 9 rebounds in 3 quarters, so I'm not pacing very well. That's why on the first possession, I grabbed the next rebound. But how do the Oklahoma City Thunder improve? Because if they're not willing to pay the tax, that means that their players are just going to have to be better. Ibaka has to develop a post game. He's got to turn into Tim Duncan in the post. Cephalosha's got to turn into a deadly scorer. And I just don't see those things happening. I don't see them progressing their game like that season to season. Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant are the only players on that team that are really making it happen, that are really making improvements from year to year. And that's not going to be enough. Now it's really looking like that trade that the Celtics made where they got Jeff Green for Kendrick Perkins. Back then, it didn't seem like a good trade for the Celtics, but now it does because he had a terrible playoffs. That was one of the stories, that Kendrick Perkins had one of the worst playoff series ever for a player. His plus minus was way down. And ever since the second quarter started, I've been pacing good on the rebounds. Now I'm at 6. I'm past the halfway mark because normally I like to be at 5 rebounds by halftime, but I'm at 6. So I'm overachieving. But I only had 1 in the first quarter. That's crazy. Isn't it funny how in my first season I only had 8 triple-doubles? But now that I'm actually trying to get triple-doubles, I'm making it happen and I'm making it seem easy. Look at this. I got my 7th rebound here to start the third quarter. Pacing very well. Still passing to my teammates, trying to get those assists. Because once I get these triple-doubles out the way, then I don't even have to play 12-minute quarters. I can go down to 5-minute quarters. All I got to do is get 15 assists per game. Breeze through the second season, regular season, so I can get to the playoffs and then bump it back up to 12-minute quarters. There goes my 8th rebound. And then, of course, the third and final accomplishment would be to just make it to the conference finals, because I have to make it twice. I already made it in my first season. So if we get back to the conference finals, I could retire a Hall of Famer and take it into 2K14. Since season 2 has started, I've gotten 2 new GM sit-down topics, but I haven't actually gone in there to take a look at them because I heard a rumor that if you try to negotiate your contract extension before your contract is up, it freezes your career. Wouldn't that be some cheese? There goes the triple-double rebound. That's my 10th. But wouldn't that be some cheese? I'm trying to make it into the Hall of Fame, and then I get hit with the ultimate freeze cheese because I tried to negotiate my contract before it was up. So I don't know if that guy was trolling. I don't know if it's true. It could be true, though, because there's a lot of glitches in my career. We know of all the glitches, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is true. So I think I'm just gonna keep it safe, play it safe, throwing up the lob to celebrate another triple-double. That's what I do. Once I get those triple-doubles out the way, I just want to throw lobs. I just want to have fun. Look, I'm tired right now, but I don't even care. Gonna find my boy Gordon in a corner. And this is actually a close game, so that 3 was needed. You see, there's 26 seconds. We're only up by 3. I'm open for the splash. Got it. That's the first time I've made a splash when I was tired at the end of the game. And also, I don't know if you noticed, but my shot feedback chart is all glitched, just like my last few My Team videos. I don't know how that triggers, but it does.
So you had 19 assists in this one. Really, it was a show you put on with your passing. When you get in a zone like that, does the game slow down for you?
Man, to me, the game always feels like it's in slow motion. It's like I'm out there playing chess with my opponents. I'll make a move, they'll adjust, and then I'll counter what they did. And this is all happening in the split seconds when I come up the court. Part of being fast is being fast with your decisions. And I think my assist totals speak perfectly for how quickly I can think on my feet.